If you know, you know. There is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about the world of Hollywood and celebrity. It's understandable because you know it's a world full of lies, manipulation, and deception. But the problem is, there's not a lot of accurate information about how they are lying, manipulating, and deceiving you. There's a lot of conjecture and conspiracy theories, but I get it. It's hard to follow and keep track of all the lies, manipulation, and deception while trying to connect the thread, especially if you haven't studied or worked in the entertainment industry. Because I have, let me burst Hollywood's bubble for you. Today's beauty industry is what the fashion industry was between 20 to 25 years ago. Back in the 2000s, every celebrity had a clothing brand. And in Beyonce's case, so did her mama.
I want people to know that there is really a person designing the clothes, and that it's not just a celebrity brand. The thing that I promised Beyonce is that we would not just slap her name on a clothing line and let somebody do it and we not have input.
Before celebrities called themselves founders, they called themselves fashion designers. And that's not a joke. And despite not having ever sketched a single piece of clothing in their lives, they had the audacity to claim they were fashion designers, but really, they just gave manufacturing companies the rights to their name, image, likeness to produce and distribute clothes for them. At the time, every celebrity brand was a licensing deal or had licensing deals. But that's not the story we were all told.
I decided to start my own fashion line. I feel like I have something to offer to the fashion world, and I just threw myself in as a designer.
We knew that, our line would be different, and the thing that we concentrated on was making sure that we were really designing the line, and I didn't just throw my name on anything.
I mean, even before I learned to dance or sing or act in films, I was just redesigning clothes. From the time I was little, I would get like a really whack pair of pants that was really cheap, and then I'd cut them and make a beautiful little tiny mini skirt out of it.
We're definitely proud of the product. I put a lot of myself into it.
I designed everything, so it's very my style.
Best part of the job is having the ideas go from my head onto paper and then onto the rack and then wearing it and giving the clothing to my friends.
A couple years ago when I would have looked at you, I would have never thought I would see Jay-Z, the head of a fashion line. No clothing, nope, not in this lifetime. Wasn't in my right. Yeah.
For better or worse, this is my line. I know people that have done clothing lines, and I know that there's been varying degrees of involvement, and my nature is such that I don't know how to not be completely involved.
When Justin's in town, it's always here, always down here, having input creatively, businessly.
The Jessica Simpson collection has been such an amazing adventure for me. For me and my mom together, we both come up with sketches and ideas and, put together our thoughts. And I want everybody to walk around with fashion.
This is my shit. This is Irvin Jeff. I wear my own clothes now.
I started Lamb because I wanted to do another creative project in my life that I could do.
My clothing line is called Dream Out Loud, and it's something that I've been working on for a very long time. I love fashion and I love clothes, so being able to see my line in stores is kind of crazy to me, but I think it's a blessing, and I've had so much fun designing it.
Celebrities were not fashion designers, and they never were.
I sit down with the design team each season and sort of come up with a different motif and color palette and bring in a lot of design ideas, whether it be vintage inspiration or different silhouettes that I want to kind of try and incorporate. And they'll do the sketching and come back to me with some of the sketches, and I'll approve things and tweak them, and then samples will be made and I have to approve the samples and stuff.
It was all a marketing ploy to get their fans to buy their clothes to fill their pockets at the expense of others. At most, they were curators sharing their ideas and picking and choosing what they liked and didn't like. The rest of them knew absolutely nothing about designing or making clothes, had no understanding of fabrics, didn't have the knowledge to manipulate or tailor fabrics to be able to design, didn't know how to create any silhouettes, didn't understand the purpose of silhouettes, didn't know the language, didn't know or understand any of the techniques, didn't know how to draw, didn't know or understand the business. And they didn't care to know. Most of the time, they were just stealing designs and concepts or following trends. And sadly, it hurt Black brands and designers more than anybody else. Instead of uplifting Black designers and brands like Maurice Malone, Carl Kanai, April Walker, and Damon John, who were the pioneers of American streetwear in the late 80s and early 90s, Fat Farm, Rocawear, Sean John, and every other hip-hop celebrity clothing brand poached their employees, stole their design aesthetics, repackaged it to their fans, claimed it as their own creations, undercut them, and/or oversaturated the market, all out of selfishness and greed. So if you were ever wondering why there's a lack of successful Black designers in the fashion industry, blame them for sabotaging their businesses to get ahead. Unfortunately, signing licensing deals with clothing manufacturers was the hustle. And when other celebrities saw how much success another celebrity was having, they wanted in and they didn't care who it affected. They only cared about the money. Celebrities don't make enough money from their music or acting to sustain their lifestyles and the engine that propels their career. By no means is that an excuse. The only way to maintain them is to monetize their celebrity by taking advantage of their fans and their fans' insecurities by love bombing them when they need money.
I am announcing today that we have the JLo Ultimate Makeover Contest launched. You are my inspiration. Thank you so much. That's for you.
And ghosting them when they don't.
We're done.
It's repulsive, but that's exactly what this is, aside from feeding their egos, as Diddy once said.
See, everybody always asks me why I started designing clothes. I basically just wanted to look good, man. You know, to be perfectly honest, I was just like looking at myself and saying, boy, goddamn, you look good.
And Sean John was bored. Whenever there's a successful business model trending, which celebrity clothing brands were trending at the time, exploiters are going to exploit. And in this particular situation, it was the manufacturing, brand management, investment, and existing clothing companies who took advantage of this opportunity to capitalize off of any and every celebrity they could. The story goes two ways. These companies see an opportunity, so they approach and broker a licensing deal with a celebrity's manager or agent, or the manager or agent approach and broker a licensing deal with the companies. Either way, these companies are the middlemen lurking in the shadows, making it all happen, using their connections inside the fashion industry to produce, sell, and distribute celebrity products to retailers for fans to buy. All for the purpose of making as much money as they possibly could, no matter who got hurt or exploited, while celebrities collected the easiest check. The real designers who actually designed the clothes for them were never credited for their work. Real designers were denied funding because it was more profitable to invest in a celebrity than their talent. By oversaturating the market with celebrity brands, real designers could not compete and went out of business. Exploitation of labor was at an all-time high, and not a single one of them cared that their clothes were produced in a sweatshop. Fans were scammed into buying low-quality products with high prices and no inherent value. The planet is still recovering from the amount of denim that was manufactured with their tags on them. When the trend died and people no longer wanted anything to do with the celebrity, where did their clothes end up? Where most of the clothes were made from synthetic fibers, and synthetic fibers are not biodegradable. Anybody that's lived through the 2000s knows. We've already suffered once. We don't need a revival of the tackiest clothes in human history. Nor should the people who got exploited have to relive it. Nostalgia isn't always as sweet as you remember it to be. The reality of it is always far more dark. We killed celebrity brands for a reason, and they should have stayed dead, never to be brought back to life. We caught on to their lies and exploitation, and now that beauty is the new hustle, it's the 2000s all over again, and history is repeating itself. And it's already having the same negative consequences, and history is getting rewritten in their favor. Celebrities are the pioneers, and the real pioneers, who are the small businesses that came before them, are getting erased. Celebrities are duping and replicating their products.
Nobody gonna want us to go to their shows, Frank.
Why?
Because we gonna take everything.
Yeah, but everybody does that, though.
No, everybody does.
Yeah, you know? But it is gonna be fresh.
But we go and meet everybody, say, hey, great show, and then still live.
Celebrities, as always, are getting better and more shelf space than small businesses. Celebrities have the financial and marketing advantage over small businesses. As a result, small businesses can't compete and are losing money or shutting down. And again, it's affecting Black and brown businesses more than the others. Fans are being overcharged for items that cost them far less to produce, and it's not getting kicked back to the people actually making the products. The people formulating the products get no credit. And just like their clothing brands, it's further exploiting our natural resources and creating more waste, making it far more difficult for the earth to recover. Celebrities need to be put back in timeout again, but this time for good. They need to be put in a corner and think about the consequences of their actions, because somehow it's the same celebrities that keep creating or reviving brands as if their previous or same brands had no social, economic, or environmental consequences at all. But as long as they continue to deflect the realities of their actions and you continue not to hold them accountable, they're going to continue to cause more harm, create more things we don't want, most certainly don't need, and will regret years later in the future. The more you know.